Today, I'm going to tell you about 9 things that you can do to supercharge your networking in the new year. Every year, we get around to New Year's, and people start making resolutions. They say, I'm going to lose weight, or I'm going to eat better, I'm going to stop drinking, I'm going to, be a better parent. All these things they say they're going to do. And most of the time, we don't follow through with any of them. Unfortunately, by about the middle of February, 90% of people have dropped their New Year's resolutions. But if your New Year's resolution is to be a better networker in the new year, I've got 9 things you can start doing, and you don't have to do them all. You could do one of them. You could do all of them. You could do one day and the second one the next day. You could just combine them in any sort of way that you can so that you can continue to make progress on your New Year's resolution. Now, personally, I don't really like New Year's resolutions because, again, most people don't follow through with them and they go into them with the wrong mentality. And the mentality is, I'm going to suddenly start doing something I've never done before, and I'm probably not going to be very successful at it. So I like to give people small things they can do on a consistent basis so that they can become the person that they want to become. In this case, we're talking about networking, and I want to give you some small steps you can take so you can become a better networker, and not only just become somebody who networks, but somebody who's known as a great networker. Because once it becomes a habit, once it's something that you do all the time, it becomes a part of who you are, it becomes a part of your identity. It's a lot easier to keep doing it. So today I'm going to give you 9 things, and these are 9 things I posted in the past on LinkedIn in a post, and I posted 9 and I asked people what was number 10 because nobody really likes a top 9 list. So I said, here's my 9 and what's 10. And then some other people chimed in on what they thought was the best number 10. And I'm going to tell you at the end what the best number 10 was. And it's one additional thing you could do. I loved it. I think it's something you could keep in mind, and you could do this every single day and your life would get better. I promise you, if you did this one thing every single day. But we're going to talk about networking first, and I'm going to go through my top 9 things you can start doing to be a better networker next year. So number 1, get active on social media. Okay, a lot of us are all active on social media, but a lot of us are just scrolling on social media. A lot of us are just going through our feeds, looking at reels on Instagram, scrolling through Twitter, scrolling through LinkedIn, and we're not really getting active. So I encourage you to get more active, to comment on posts, to share posts, to write your own posts. Wherever it is, start sharing your opinions. Why do you want to start doing that? Well, provided you do it well and you are constructive and positive and you share things that help people, that's how people are going to come to know you, and they're going to look to you whenever they're trying to solve the problem that you solve. So they can't know that you're the person who can solve their problem if they don't see you. So get active on social media. Like I said, you don't have to start, posting every day, but just comment. Set aside a few minutes each day to comment, especially on LinkedIn. That's my network, my social media network of choice. That's where I do most of my posting. This next year, in the upcoming new year, I'm probably going to expand into some other platforms just to broaden my reach. But my main one is LinkedIn. I started out just kind of commenting, trying to figure out my voice, and over time I started posting, and as I got more consistent, I came to more of this idea of the introverted networker, and that's really where it started, just showing up every day and doing a little bit and seeing where it went. So that's number 1. Get active on social media. Number 2, find communities with similar interests. This can be online or this can be in person. Whatever you're interested in, go find a community that is into that and start to meet other people with similar interests. I'm not trying to suggest you use this as a way to meet people for your personal life. This is strictly professional. So whatever your professional interests are, where's those communities? Where are people doing presentations on that? What are other people in your area talking about? When do they get together? What do they do? If you're not even sure what that is, just finding something that's interesting to you or something you'd like to learn to do. I don't know, maybe you want to learn to fly fish or something. Where do fly fisher people hang out? Fly fisher men and women. I don't know. I'm just making that up. Wherever you're interested, go find some people with similar interests interests. Number 3, open yourself up to letting people contact you. I'm going to jump back to LinkedIn here. There's a ton of people who are on LinkedIn and you can't connect with them, and they don't allow you to send them a connection request unless you have their email address. So they're very closed off, and that's okay if that's what they choose. But if that's you and people can't connect with you because they don't have your email address, because you're trying to protect your inbox or something like that, it's going to be really hard to connect with people. Be open to that. You're probably not going to get that many spam messages. And if you do, ignore them. We get a ton of spam every day. We mostly just delete it and ignore it. Also, let people follow you, connect with you, or if they interact with you or you interact with them, have the conversation, right? You can set up your own safeguards. You can put barriers in place if you're worried about safety or you're worried about people acting badly. Define your boundaries, but allow people to contact you, to get in touch with you. You never know what kind of conversations you're going to have. Number 4, start sharing your opinions. I said a minute ago you didn't have to post. Well, if you get past commenting or reposting stuff, start sharing your opinions on LinkedIn or Medium or Quora. Maybe you don't like LinkedIn. Maybe you don't like the way it interacts. Maybe you just like to write. Go to Medium, set up an account, start writing and sharing your opinions there. Go to Quora and type in your interests and see what questions people ask and see if you can add to those. I've got a ton of Quora answers, and they're not all about networking. I mean, I one time in my life owned a food truck. And so I've got a bunch of my best answers, my highest traffic answers are things about how do you start a food truck? I just went on there and answered that. Does that get me anywhere today? No, but hey, if you want to know how to start a food truck, hit me up. I'll tell you what I would do and where everybody goes wrong. Not my core thing, but again, share it. You never know where it's going to go. Okay, so that's number 4. Number 5, start commenting on posts. Again, this is being active on social media. Comment on posts. Even if you don't want to share things, if you can't write something on LinkedIn because you're like, I don't know what I'm going to write, which is what mostly people say, I say start commenting and comment something good, right? I mean, Craig Davis is a guy who's on LinkedIn, and I'll link to him in my newsletter, who all he did when he first got on LinkedIn is write comments. He's like the king of comments now. Like, I think that's actually in his profile. And this is a guy who built up a huge LinkedIn audience just by commenting on other people's posts. He does it consistently. He does it well. He always adds value to his comments. And if you do that, if you show up on people who are maybe have more followers than you, or maybe they're talking about the thing you like to talk about, and you do it consistently and you add value, not only the author is going to see you and maybe connect with you, but all those other people who are on that post commenting are going to see you and connect with you too. It's a great way to start to build your LinkedIn connections, is through commenting, and you don't even have to write your own posts, but you got to get out there. You got to give a good comment. It can't just be like, oh, I agree, or nice post. You got to give a value added comment. So add to the conversation. Pretend you're at a presentation at a conference, and the person who posted it is the speaker up on stage, and their post is their whole presentation. And at the end, they say, does anybody have any questions? And you raise your hand. Like, you wouldn't raise your hand and say, oh, I agree 100%, or nice presentation. No, you would raise your hand and say, I like what you said here, and it makes me think of this. And in my experience, I did this. And I think, that's how I would approach it. And everybody there now has your point of view on it to add to what they just learned about from the person on stage. So think of your comments like sitting in a live presentation and raising your hand at the end to add or ask questions. That's a great way to do that. And commenting on posts, again, is a huge way you could start to grow your number of connections on LinkedIn without sending connection requests. Okay. Number 6, think about all the people you've worked with in the past and connect with them on LinkedIn. Go through your LinkedIn profile and go to the last place you worked, click on it, and go to the section that says people and look for the people who don't work there anymore. And you can filter like on past company for the name of that company, and you can see all these people. If you're not first degree connections with them and you know them, again, remember, people you know and worked with. If you're second degree, send them a note and say like, hey, I realized we weren't first degree connections. We worked together in the past. Would love to connect with you. Would love to catch up on what's going on with you. There you go. Activate your dormant ties. So you'll probably find a lot of people you forgot about, and you're like, oh man, I forgot about that person. I should connect with him. So don't be afraid to do that, because that adds connections, and you could start having a conversation with someone. You never know where that'll go. All right, number 7, make a list of target companies. Why? Because you want to see how many people you already know work at those companies. So if you come up with your target companies and you go and you look to see who works there, you might find one of your connections works there now. Or once you make it, you go back to all these people you worked with at number 6 and you're like, oh, so-and-so now works at one of my target companies. I should probably reach out to that person and find out more about that company. You've already got an in. So you can't start that till you have a list of target companies. So target companies are where you're interested in maybe working someday. Not necessarily now, but in the future, you just like to get to know more about them. Or maybe they're just a company you hear about all the time and you're curious about what they do. It's a great way to approach it and learn more about them. And you never know where the opportunities might come from. All right, number 8, make sure all your online profiles are up to date. You want people to look at your profile and see somebody who's active and providing value. So back to the comments one here in number 5. If you are leaving comments and people go to your profile, they're going to see that you're leaving comments. Okay, you're active. You're somebody they could connect with. But make sure your profile's up to date. Make sure you've got a profile picture. I mean, blown away by people who don't have a profile picture but are like trying to get active on LinkedIn. And I understand, again, going back to safety, there's people who feel like they don't want to do that. But I got to tell you, people are going to connect with people they see a picture of. It's just, it's been tested. It's been proven. You've got to find a way to get to a point where you can put a picture up there and feel okay about it. Make sure you have a headline. Make sure you have a banner. Make sure that all of your information around emails and how to contact you and stuff is up to date. If you do that, it's going to be easier for people to connect with you. Now, again, if you don't feel safe doing that, don't do that. Just don't complain about people not connecting with you on the platform. So this might be one you don't want to do if you feel unsafe about providing information for people to contact you. Okay, number 9, once you've made all these sort of connections online, because I really focused on a lot of online connecting and social media and how to do it. But number 9, turn all these connections into offline in-person relationships. Even if it's a video or phone call, it's better than online messages. Like, make it real. You're going to have some voice-to-voice conversations with somebody sometime to get to know them better, to start to know and trust them so that you can help each other. And that's what networking is all about, is helping each other. So all those are things you could do one of those 365 days, or you could do a few of them one week and a few of them another week. You could do some of them every day. You could do some of them once a month. It just depends. But there's a list of things you could start doing that will help your networking in the new year. Now, I said I was going to do number 10. And number 10 came out of my comments on this post here. And number 10 comes from a follower of mine named Jenna Maneri. And Jenna works for Kadima Careers. And she said number 10 should be HOPE, HOPE. And it stands for Help One Person Every Day. And she gave credit to Jen Gottlieb for this. Now, Jenna is a follower of mine. Jen Gottlieb is somebody I just started following. I didn't know her. And so, Jenna's doing a good thing by giving credit to somebody else. But let's focus on the concept here. Help one person every day. Remember, HOPE. If you help one person every single day, your networking is going to go off the charts. If you find one person to help and you do that every single day, you are going to have people lining up trying to help you in return. Everything you do, everything I talked about, 1 through 9, if you find a way to help people doing all those things, you're going to be an incredible networker, because the focus of networking should be on helping other people first. And if you help one person every day, if you hope, that's going to come back around to you. All the other stuff is just tactics. It's just things to do. But if you do that, if you wake up and you don't do anything else, if you don't do anything else in your day and you just help one person every day, you are going to have a vibrant professional network. You're actually going to have a vibrant life, because giving to people and helping them every day is going to come back to you tenfold. So those are my top 9, plus the bonus of HOPE, help one person every day. Hope that helps you get your networking started in the new year. Go out, meet some interesting people, always be connecting.